What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Like always, like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the videos. Want to go over real quick the rest of my November TBR before we get to the TBR. TBR is to be read for newcomers to the booktubing world. I'll go over the two books I'm currently reading, and then the books I've already finished for the month of November. It's been I'm on a pretty good pace, but I'm starting to slow down a little bit. But every book I've read this month has just been absolute favorites. So ranking, everything's going to be my favorite. So I mean, well, one is probably going to end up the weakest, but still, because something has to be at the bottom, but still, it's a great book. So I'm currently reading The Shining by Stephen King for our book club that we have going on, that my wife and I are in. It starts off a lot slower than I remember, but I'll go over that later. But still, amazing book. And I'm also currently reading, just started last night, the Dark Force Rising Star Wars. I'm all about the space sci-fi space operas right now. The books I finished so far this month, I started the month with Robotech, the 4, 5, and 6, Battle Hymn, Force of Arms, and Doomsday. And then I read Patriot Games. And then I read Heir to the Empire, Book 1 of the Thrawn trilogy. And then I read Keep the Faith. So those are what I finished so far and what I'm currently reading. Now on the TBR, I'll just go ahead and start with our second book club book of the month, Kisses from Katie. I'll go over this more in depth after I read it. It seems like it's going to be pretty decent of a nonfiction read, so I'm excited for that. And then, let's see, I'm just going to have to stack books everywhere. My little corner of reading is small. After I finished Dark Force Rising, I was going to go straight to The Last Command, but I think I'm going to bridge it by reading Batman Resurrection in between them. This seems very interesting. I do love the only Tim Burton movies I actually like, be shocked, I guess, is his Batman movie with Michael Keaton, so that's nostalgia for me anyways. Then The Last Command, of course. Can't wait to get to this one. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to go nuts reading Star Wars for a while, so it's a lot of my TBRs are going to be quite a few Star Wars books littered in there. And then the second book of the Novel Corps series, read Semper Fi. The review should be dropping this week for that book. It was okay. I really do like this book I'm getting more into the World War II era now, so it's fitting. And then indie book I have, Alpha Clash. It's also a trading card game. I may rip a box on the channel, so it's going to be an odd video at some point. I do love the card game. I just don't have time to play cards. But as far as the novel goes and the comics and stuff, I'm going to definitely give it a shot. And I'm excited to get to this, actually. I'm really excited. I actually might read it before I read this, so we'll see what happens. And then I have The Face Slated. I've read this before when I was younger, and I remember I loved it, so I'm excited to get a second read on it. It's going to be pretty sweet. And then to finish the month is another indie author, Mike Duke. This cover looks sick, so I don't even know if I'll be able to handle this book. I might have to DNF it if it's too crazy. But otherwise, I'm pretty excited to get into this and read this series. So hopefully I like it, and I'll keep going on the series. It's just a short little book. It'll probably take me a couple hours to get it through. And then if I finish all that and I still have, a week or so left, I'm probably going to go ahead and read the third book in the chronological order of the Jack Ryan series in Red Rabbit. So I'm pretty excited for this. This is a pretty long book in itself, so if I don't read this, I'm definitely going to get to the X-Wing series, so, 100%. And if somehow I get through all that, I have 2 more books to end the month with. That is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Even if I don't get to it this month, this will be in my December TBR. And then Rhapsody by Elizabeth Hayden. This is a series. I don't remember what it's called. The series is called, but I did look it up on Amazon because I had this book laying around. I was like, you know what? I haven't read any female authors yet this year, so let me get one in there. So right now it's just a trilogy. We'll see. This is the first book of the series, so I'm gonna give it a shot. If I don't get to it this month, I'll try to get it in December. And if for some reason I push it back in December, I will get to it in January for sure because I need some fantasy to kind of change it up. So I'm thinking I'll be on a good pace, and honestly, I'm pretty sure I'll get to Red Rabbit. And if I have a few days left, I'm almost sure I'll get through one of the X-Wing books before the month is over. But at the pace I'm on, I'm looking to maybe push through everything. But we'll see. You know, things happen. We got family stuff scheduled, so it's going to be slowing me down a little bit, but nothing crazy. But that's the rest of my November TBR. I'm pretty excited for every single book on the list. Honestly, Kisses from Katie's probably the weakest of the bunch, but it's a good nonfiction book, and I have plenty more nonfiction books that I want to litter into my TBRs every month to freshen it up. And then I may slow down on these books and maybe Tom Clancy a little bit because I want to read Star Wars more and Star Trek. I have 2 Star Trek books coming. And of course, I want to finish off at least the first 12 books of the Robotech series because I absolutely love this series. And then there's other books I want to try. I have a book by Timothy Zahn coming, a standalone. I'm loving his writing. He's probably going to become a new favorite writer. And then I have a space opera, this book 1 of the Safehold series by David Weber. I'm pretty excited to read that. And then I have a gigantic, huge book, Brian Durfee's channel. You could go check him out. We went to an air show today, and they had they had some World War II planes and all the memorabilia, and there was even I should have donated and grabbed a couple of the books off their bookshelf, all the World War II books and stuffs about the Nazis and all that. Anyways, Brian Durfee talked about the rise and fall of the Third Reich. Pretty brutal part of World War II, and I'm gonna probably go on a little bit of a spree between World War II, the Crusades, and church history because I'm interested in World War II now, especially because, you know, these books as well. And I'm going to start with the brutal of it as first, going with the scumbags of the Nazis and reading that big giant book. And then I kind of want to get into the bombers and stuff and read about some of that and maybe some of the Churchill stuff. But we'll see as the year goes on next year. There's really one huge book I want to read of the Crusades by Thomas Asbridge, I believe. So, and then there's tons of church history books. I got one on my TBR at some point in December and January, and then another one coming up later on. So, and then I've really got into this David Jeremiah book was my second book by him, and I absolutely love his writing. So I'm probably going to buy about 4 or 5 more of these little books and put one in all my TBRs. So that's changing up my plans a little bit, but these books are a quick read, so they don't really hurt me that much. And then there is a couple of other indie books I want to buy really bad. So we'll see how financials go as Christmas gets closer, the weather starts to turn, and things like that. So there's some indie authors I really want to get into for sure. And if I like that Mike Duke book, I will definitely want to pick up the second one in the series. And if I like this Batman book, I'm sure I will. I definitely want to get that sequel. So my December TBR is going to shift quite a bit. And all the books I showed you here and the Yu-Gi-Oh manga, I want to read. So we'll see what happens. Honestly, Rhapsody will probably be in January, to be honest, because I'm more interested in Tom Clancy and Star Wars right now. So I'm really liking like sci-fi, and I never read that stuff in my life. I grew up and I simply just read like Dean Koontz and Stephen King and authors of that such. And for a brief stint in my life, I read like this genre called splatterpunk. Look it up if you want. I don't recommend it. It's trash literature, but there's a lot of good people that write within the community, but there's also a lot of toxicity. So I got out of that community fairly quick. I'm happy just doing what I'm doing now, and my love for Star Wars has just turned into a major obsession, probably a little unhealthy, and I want to read everything. I'll probably go over it again when I review this book for the video this week. I have started with the Thrawn trilogy because my X-Wing books came after they came, but I'm going to read everything after, everything starting with the New Republic after Return of the Jedi. So I'll probably go back and get these after I finish this row and just do like a little going back on, it would be the Bounty Hunter Wars, and then like Tales from Jabba Palace, and it looks like 2 other books, The Truce at Backera and Luke Skywalker and the Shadows of Mindor. You know, I might go ahead and get the Luke Skywalker and Shadows of Mindor right away, and then go back to those after I finish this column, because that's a lot of books right there. And then I'm going to read all these, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning, starting with Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void, and get all that done leading up to probably the Truce at Backera. So a little out of order the way I'm going to read it, but that's the way I want to do it. And then when I'm done with all the Legends format, I'm going to start on the canon format. So I'm pretty excited for all of it, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I'm going to like the Legends stuff way more because it's more nostalgic for me. I'm almost certain I read this book randomly as a teenager, bored at my grandparents' one summer. So I was probably pretty clueless what I was reading. But I think my uncle was telling me what happened in the first one, so I was okay knowing. And I'd love to get those OG covers of these someday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to. But I have right now, I'm going to get through the X-Wing series, and I have the Courtship of Princess Leia after those. And then, of course, I think it's Tatooine Ghost and X-Wing Izzard's Revenge, and then the Jedi Academy trilogy. But like I said, I'm probably going to get the Luke Skywalker and Shadows of Mindor and read that somewhere within the X-Wing, as I'm going through the first 7 X-Wing books. So, or when I get to it in that, I'm going to pop it in right away and just read it because I'm interested in that one. But that's my November TBR. Video was a little longer than I expect. That's okay. Like always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. What are you reading this month? What are you reading next month? I know our book club has some real fun little Christmas books. Like we got one that's advertised as Hallmark movie in a book. I'm pretty excited for. I'll definitely be reading that big monster World War II history coming, and I'll probably get in another church history book next month, and probably another David Jeremiah, and lots of Star Wars, and then maybe one Tom Clancy, one W.B. Griffin, and I want to try that David Weber book, and definitely want to try that Timothy Zahn book. So we'll see what I can do in December. That's the video. Later.